Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show that lets your voice be heard each and every week. I'm your host, Juhi Desai. In today's episode of Your Voice, we'll bring you through some of the exciting highlights of a conversation with singer-songwriter Falu, Fashion Fiesta for a Cause featuring the designs of Betsy Johnson, and the International Conference on Education, Sustainable Development, Leadership, and Policy at Columbia University. Versatile and talented singer-songwriter Falu has won the hearts of many, and she's set out to do it all over again with her newest album, Forest Road. She and I sat down to chat about the themes and background of this album and what make it so unique. Let's take a look. Hi everyone, we have here the beautiful and very talented Miss Falguni Shah, and you all may know her more popularly as Falu. There you go. That's the name that you've all heard all this time, and now you're going to meet the woman in person. Falguni, how are you today?
I'm good.
Great. And so I know Falguni is Falu. And tell us very quickly where this name came from.
Thank you, Juhi, for having me here. The name, actually, Falu is my pet name. My mom and dad used to call me Falu. And then when I came to America, I decided, let's just stick with that. You know, my mom and dad call me Falu. It feels as if, I'm still with them.
Falu, that's so sweet. And now learning music in India, coming here, and you've got a vast background in your musical education and experience. Tell us about your music and your sound and your personal connection to it.
Juhi, that's a great question. Actually, I was trained with hardcore Indian classical music since I was 3 years old. And what I'm doing now is this album is traditional album. So all the training that I got, I have very easily incorporated that in this music because it is very difficult to sing Thumris or Dadras or a classical piece that we've written. Folk music is actually the hardest to sing anyway. So everything that I've learned, I have tried to kind of bring it in this album, and let's see, I hope people like it.
So now this new album of yours, it's called Forest Road. Mm-hmm. It's got a very interesting story behind it in terms of it was half produced in India, half produced in the United States, and you worked with a very well-known Grammy Award-winning producer, and that must have been very exciting. And even in terms of the theme of the music, it's all folk, and it's the music of the courtesans of the specific area of Forest Road.
Right.
Tell us, how did you come up with this idea to make an album like this, connect with a group of women who are not very much talked about? Mm-hmm. Tell us about this.
It's very interesting. The way this came about is I learned a lot of Thumris and Dadras. That is the style of music that was passed in these courtesans from generation to generation. And there is a red light district in Bombay called Forest Road. And this music, you can hear it on the third floor of that compound. And my teacher is a disciple of a true courtesan. Her name was Siddheshwari Devi, and my teacher Kaumudi Munshi taught me all these beautiful Thumris that I have inherited from her as her disciple. And when I came to America, I was thinking, this art is now kind of dying, and what can I do to revive it and bring it back in the limelight, because this music is so beautiful and so sensuous and so inviting, and I really wanted to make an album and make this music out for the entire generation to hear it. Otherwise it's going to lose its beauty because no one's doing it anymore. And since my teacher Kaumudi Munshi was such a great guru that I had, and she passed on to all these 5,000 songs to me with such graciousness, I really owe it to her, and I owe it to Siddheshwari Devi, and I owe it to this whole genre of trying to at least survive it in whatever way I can. And Forest Road came about because of that idea that I got.
Now, how were you able to tap into this community? Did you do extensive research? Were you able to go and speak to these women and about their experiences and their music?
Because my teacher learned from a true courtesan, so every experience that she had, she actually just taught me or told me, and that story was so intriguing. And I met a couple of them. I can't tell their names because it's a secret society, so I'm not allowed to say the names, but yes, I did manage to meet a couple of them and hear their stories firsthand. And what it is. It's a very fascinating life and fascinating music, and the whole culture is very intriguing to me.
I was listening to some of the tunes that are available just through your other interviews as well. It's very mesmerizing music, and it must have been a very, I'm guessing, mesmerizing experience, because these are, like you said, it's a secret society. It's not something you see every day.
Absolutely. It has a mystery to it, and that mystery adds when you make music, and that music speaks volumes because it's not something people talk about.
Yeah, that's very exciting, and I know that for your audience and for even the newer audience you'll gain through this album, it's definitely going to be a very interesting, sensuous, like mesmerizing experience. Now, when you've been working on this album, there's so many different creative things going on. You have a friend who created one new instrument out of two different instruments together, and you have 6 different languages that are being presented in this album. How did you take so many ideas, even beyond the 2 that I just mentioned, and hone it all into one album?
It definitely took a while. You know, there are ideas, and then you make those ideas into practical examples, and you put right people in the right studio together at the right time. So it takes a lot of planning. But Babulal Gandharvaji, who is an amazing musician in my eyes, invented this instrument called Bela Bahar. And there are only 2 people in the world who play this. It's a mix between violin and a sarangi. I think it's very close to human voice, and I really think it's very sensual and very, very close to a woman's voice. So I felt like that would be perfect instrument to introduce in the West. His son Naveen plays this instrument in the album. Very amazing musician as well. And 6 languages. Because I grew up in India, you know, when you grow up in India, you speak so many languages, Hindi, Marathi, because I grew up in Maharashtra. Gujarati is my native, English I went to school, and Hindi, obviously, Bollywood, you cannot escape. And Sanskrit is something I studied at school, so we have Sanskrit, Avdi, Hindi, Urdu, Persian, Gujarati, and Rajasthani. 7 languages in the album, and I was very happy because this is everything that I grew up with. It is my roots, and I wanted to embrace everything that I've learned, not just music, but the culture and the language and the people and the musicians who I grew up with. My friends were so great. They were so amazing that they played in this album. They agreed to play, and we recorded half the music in India and half in Woodstock, New York.
Now tell us how we can find your album, how we can purchase it for ourselves and enjoy this album.
You can buy this album on Amazon.com, FaluMusic.com. Then we have a Facebook fan page that you can like and buy it there. It's Facebook.com/FaluMusic. And also it's available digitally on iTunes, and I think digitally everywhere you can download it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Falu and her new album, Forest Road. Make sure you go out and buy it because it's going to be one wonderful experience for you. And we appreciate you, Falu, so much for coming into our studio and told us about your album and your different experiences.
It's my sheer pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Be sure to get your hands on Forest Road soon. It's now time for our first break, but don't go far. We've got lots more for you on the other side.